I got a new idea I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do parlay and picks. I'm not doing full card breakdowns right now for the near future. But I'm gonna give my most confident picks, put it in a parlay. Too many P's, I'm sorry. We're gonna start off with $100 balance and see what we can run it up to. Alright, so I'm gonna start breaking down a couple fights. Here we go. Alright, and one last thing I'd like to add. The balance for this challenge is in the top right corner. We're starting off with $100. I'll update it next video if we win or lose this parlay. All right, and the first one on this parlay is going to be Holloway versus Mateus from Becky. This one is going to be a good fight. I have a feeling Holloway is coming up, and he has not had too many fights in the UFC, but he's on an 8-fight win streak, undefeated in the UFC at 2-0. He's very well-rounded with good grappling. He's never been finished in his career, and he's also coming from up a weight class where he won the fight on short notice. He was actually up at 170, I think it was, and he won coming back down. And now he's going to be fighting at a lower weight class, which is what he normally fights at. And the one thing I have is his opponent's coming off a KO loss. You know, many people think Orobai is just a very one-dimensional, just grappling heavy, but he's pretty heavy-fisted, and I think he might be able to knock Mbeki out. But we'll go through the cons of this one real quick. His opponent has finished 3 out of 4 of his UFC wins. Opponent has only lost by knockout, which, that might be a little bit of a pro. Opponent has a couple more UFC fights. It's very similar. His opponent has knockout power, and Orobai was a little bit hittable in his last fight. Again, he was up a weight class, heavier, so probably a little slower, but he's just a little bit hittable, so who really knows if he's going to be able to take these punches. But again, I think he's down a weight class. He's on a win streak, and I think he's a very good fighter, obviously. He is the reason why I have a YouTube channel. But yeah, I think Orobai is going to be able to win this one pretty decisively. If not by decision, maybe even by knockout. That would be kind of cool. I'm not too confident in that, but I'm just picking him straight up, and he's going to be a minus 303. I'm going to throw the parlay at the end, but I'm going to go down and break down all these fights. All right, next up, I'm picking Jeff Neal against RDA. Some of the pros is that Jeff Neal's a younger guy. He's 34. RDA is almost 40. He almost killed Luque, and then Luque went on to beat RDA right after that fight. Jeff Neal put up a decent performance against Shavkat. I mean, he didn't get completely mauled, but it wasn't a good performance. But he did okay. He showed he's just not the worst fighter ever. He has good takedown defense, and he's as well-rounded, but better on the feet. The cons are a little weird. He could just randomly lose because Jeff Neal sometimes has a tendency of just losing for the sake of it. RDA is very, 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 very durable. RDA can take a punch. And as well, Jeff Neal's coming off of 2 losses where he's only won 2 of his last 6 fights. So this could be a big rebound for him. I think this is what they're looking for, feed an older fighter to him. I mean, they're not really trying to grow him or anything like that, but this should be a decently easy win to keep Jeff Neal around the division. So I'm picking Jeff Neal in this one. All right, now last but maybe least, we got Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. I'm not a big Lerone Murphy fan, but I do believe he's going to win this. I'm a fan of Dan Ige over Lerone Murphy, but, just looking into this fight, I just think Lerone Murphy's going to win. Let's go over some pros. Lerone Murphy's going to be a taller fighter, and he's a very elusive striker, so he's just going to get in and out. And Danny is more of a power puncher, so it's going to be difficult for Danny to land those big shots on Lerone Murphy, who's good at jumping in and out of the pocket. He's very good at point fighting and staying at range. That's really all he does. He is point fight, honestly. He's decently well-rounded again. Both fighters are strikers, and I think Lerone Murphy has the edge in, getting hit and not, or hitting and not getting hit. Lerone Murphy's also undefeated. And this being a 3-round fight gives less time for Lerone Murphy to get knocked out. More time for him to point fight. I don't see him getting chased all around and getting tired and gassed and knocked out. I think he's just going to jab, 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 jab. Danny Gay's head. And I don't think Danny Gay's going to be able to do much about it. He might try and blitz and throw some big shots, but I don't really see that work in this fight. I think Lerone Murphy's going to do what he always does. This time against a little higher level of an opponent than he's used to, really. Some of the cons are Danny Gay has knockout power, and Danny Gay has more fights in the UFC than Murphy has had overall. Lerone Murphy, I think, is like 14-0, 14-0-1 or something like that. And Danny Gay's had like 15 fights in the UFC. So Danny Gay's going to have more experience. But, really, I just think point fighting will win once again in this fight. So Lerone Murphy is going to be the end of this parlay. I'm going to summarize it all. I'm going to put the parlay up on screen in 1 second. Okay, it has now been 1 second, and the parlay is on the screen. I got Holloway at a -303, Jeff Neal at a -303 as well, and then Lerone Murphy at a -250. That gets you plus 148. I'm throwing 30 on it, and if we win, we get back 74.29. This is going to be a new challenge I'm starting. Next video, I'll update if we win or lose. Don't follow along. All right? I feel bad if people bet using my idiotic ideas and lose money. But if this works and I'm right, at least subscribe. That's all I ask for. Like and subscribe. I'll be back next week. Thank you, guys. I'm out. I'm out of money after this card. I'm going to lose all my money. Help.